Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and well, even though and obviously as I film this on a Sunday, the first round of the Shannons SpeedSeries is in the books. But just for a bit of context, but I'm going to just for for this round, probably I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Gonna review in this video the Saturday action, and then in the next video I'll be reviewing Sunday's action. So it's great to have it back, and I actually watched all the action of the Speed Series. Because and then obviously watched Saturdays again, just so to get me notes here for the reviews, so I don't miss anything. So as I said in my preview for round one, you could actually watch the Speed Series on 7. You have free-to-air coverage on 7 Mate, and also streaming free to air on 7 Plus, and it's all free as well. All you need to do is just your email address, create a password, and bang, there you go. No need to pay for paying bullshit. No need for that. No need for that bollocks. Just it's free. It's free, and it's for and 7 Plus for everything. So if you're a fan of Home and Away or those Home and Away, that's for you as well. If you're like me, fan of sport, it's got Speed Series, it's got supercars, it's got the AFL, AFLW, it's got cricket on there too. Just all them, and also of course motorsport series as well. What I said like around one about Speed Series is true. Like I want to be more of an advocate on it, because there's bugger all content in terms of the Shannons Speed Series on YouTube, as far as outside of their own YouTube channel. There's no sort of content for it, so that's why I'm going to be doing this, hopefully year round, hopefully. So let's get into the action here. So at the start of the day on Saturday, there was the breaking news. There was some breaking news that came out of it, which was Will Harris, who drives the, I think it's the, I know one of the Harris boys, the other one in Brad, drive. I don't know which one drives the Honda the Civic Type R that Tony D'Alberto usually that drives in the Wall Racing car. I think it's Will. I think Will has the older modeled FK8 version of the Civic Type R, while Brad has the FL5 version of the Civic Type R. He had a pre-existing injury that was late in 2023, from what I've heard, and unfortunately, because we all know it's Sandown, it's well known for its high curbs and that, and punishing curbs and that, and unfortunately it re-aggravated a pre-existing rib injury, and he was forced to pull out. I think apparently there was try to be convinced that to go on, but he's like, nah, I'm gonna pull out, and was replaced by none other than former Honda TCR driver, and originally went to Sandown for the first round as a driver coach in John Martin, former Australian A1 GP driver once upon a time, by the way. So he was drafted in at the last minute on Sunday, and one thing also Saturday morning that was cleared up by an interview with Josh Buchan, the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia champion, because because he was driving the i30 hatchback, which is the older model of the Hyundai HMO cars that they usually drive. Usually last year, all year, the last event in 2022 and all 2023, he's driving the Elantra sedan. Apparently, there was slight niggles with the Elantra. And Josh and the team just decided, nah, we shouldn't drive it. But apparently, he said that Elantra will be back on the track. It'll be racing it very soon. So hopefully, it will be tuned out probably, and hopefully, we'll see him in the Elantra. Maybe at Tasmania, maybe. But yeah. So yeah, and then the one thing, another story that came out of it, which I didn't know, was Glenn Nuran's story about how he got the drive at Tough Lift Racing, which to be teammates with Zach Suter, because apparently what the story was Nuran actually bought a figure was confirmed. I think it was about 3 or 4 shirts and then 5 hats of merch of Zach Suter's, and then Suter obviously said to himself, maybe I should send him an Instagram DM and say, oh, thanks for buying me merch and all that. And eventually, it turned into an actual conversation where it ended in pretty much saying, "Oh, do you want to drive? You want to drive a TCR drive for me in a TCR car here in Australia?" He's like, and Glenn's like, "Why not?" And here he is. So yeah, so that was a good story. That was a good story that came out of that. So yeah, that was a story I didn't know until late Saturday morning. Pretty much, I didn't know the story about that. I didn't know that Nuran actually got the drive to be Suter's teammate. But I didn't know the real backstory behind it until then. So yeah, that a very good story. So all you TCR fans, if you buy so much of someone's merch, you never know, something might come good out of it. Maybe a possible drive, possibly. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, you don't see that in supercars, to be honest, because I don't think you'll see me. I don't think you'll see me buy so much of Triple Eight's merch that it'll convince Jamie Whincup and Roland Dane to give me a drive. I don't think so. But yeah. So yeah, so the first one was the first couple of the rank was my favorite speed series category out there, which is the Trico Trans Am series, which is Trico, the new sponsor for the Trans Am series. I don't know if I don't think I mentioned that in the preview video I did of race Sandown of the first round. But Trico, of course, the Turtle Wax had been main sponsor for the last couple of years. Now Trico has taken that over. So it was pretty hectic to start off with. Obviously, Elliot Barber set the pace, and then Grice did, and then Todd Hazelwood, who just recently got announced that he's going to be the replacement driver for Brody Kostecki in the first race of the Supercar season, which I'll get to that when I preview the Supercar season. So yeah, and then reigning champ, and then about a quarter way through the session, reigning champ James Moffat decided to just go bang and just do a 1:11.2 or 1:11.5. And then it was just I mean the only real mistake was Nash the Flash Morris spinning out at the entrance of the final turn. Just got just a simple one, just got a wheel in the grass and just spun out to the last corner. Nothing major really. And then the order midway through the session was, James Moffat from Elliot Barber, I should say. Then James Golding, regular supercars driver, could be his first race there. Then Jordan Boys, and then Elliot Cleary, who recently was announced as one of BJR's Super 2 drivers for this season. Then it was Morris, Grice, Hazelwood, Thornborough, Heyman, Tim Slade, Jackson Rice, Pappas, Hollinger, and Webster rounded out the field halfway through the session. There was plenty of movers in the last half of that in the last half of the session. Nash Morris moved up to third at one stage, and then with about 4.5 minutes to go, James Golding said, "I'm going to have a crack for pole," and took pole with a time of 1:11.37. And then by that stage, because the track conditions had started warming up, it was too late for anybody to improve and try and get close to Golding's time, and stole the first pole of the season by 0.12 of a second from Moff, with Jordan Boys, Nash Morris, and Elliot Barber running out the top 5, and then you got Cleary, Ben Grice, Todd Hazelwood, Davies, and Eden Thornborough rounding out the top 10, and then position 11 through to 16, you got Heyman, Rice, Tim Slade, Pappas, Hollinger, and Webster rounded out the field for qualifying. Just quietly, 12 cars qualified within a second in that Trans Am qualifying session. So just quietly there. Moving on to the main event, the Super 2 Porto TCR Australia's first qualifying session of the year. No cars didn't come out until we had our first drama with Jordan Cox, who it was confirmed that he got married a few weeks ago, and could have had a honeymoon, but he's like, nah, we're not doing a honeymoon. We're going racing at Sandown, and what a start to it was, with him being in the garage, with issues, apparently complaints with no drive in the Peugeot, which was not good at all, really. But it was not pretty crazy, but in terms of lining up on the leaderboards, Josh Buchan was seeing some good times. So too was Aaron Cameron. They were going back and forth at some stage in terms of getting top spot, before Ben Barguana decided he wanted to take the top spot before Tony D'Alberto took it off him. And which led to midway through the session, D'Alberto was fastest from Ben Barguana. Then it was Aaron Cameron, Josh Buchan, Ryan Casher in his very first, the reigning Toyota 86 Series champion, in his first event in a TCR car, was fifth, which was very good going. Then it was Dylan O'Keefe, Clay Richards, the son of Steve, grandson of Gentleman Jim. Then Zach Suter, Tom Oliphant, then McDougall, Harris Martin, Marcus Liddell, and Glenn Naran. Rounded out the field halfway through the session. Then Buchan decided I'll just take top spot again straight afterwards. And in the second half of the session, Dan Barguana decided I'm going to take top spot back again. So it was pretty topsy-turvy pretty much for the top spot, and then back end, the Zach Suter decided to turn it on in the Audi. just narrowly just wanted to go up there. He got to fifth fastest with a lap time and then the next lap he went fastest again, and didn't go up the leaderboard, but improved his time. And then he improved again. To go up in the top 6 because usually the top 10 from Q1 would go into Q2 to fight for pole. But since there's a lack of quantity in the field, it was only the top 6 that made it through to Q2. So and then with under 3 minutes left, Suter set a time of 1:15.2. That was enough to get him into the top 6. And that was how it stayed pretty much. So the top 6 that went through to Q2 were Ben Bargwanna, Josh Buchan, Tony D'Alberto, Ryan Casher. A very good qualifying effort from him in his first qualifying session as a TCR driver. Zach Suter and Aaron Cameron were the 6 that went into Q2. The eliminated drivers that settled position 7 to 14 were 15 if you discount Jordan Cox for not competing in it. Were Clay Richards, Richards, Harris, McDougall, O'Keefe, Martin, Oliphant, Liddell, and Niran. Were the ones that got eliminated, counting Jordan Cox as well, but he didn't get out there for a single lap, the poor fella. Anyway, top six widely featured three Peugeots, a Hyundai, a Honda, and a Audi as well. And the top 12 was separated by under 8.5 tenths of a second, by the way. So very tight margins between the field there as well for the main ones in TCR and Trans Am pretty much for that front. Qualifying 2, of course, a pretty shorter session this one with Ryan Casher, of course, seeing the banker lap in it, and then obviously Buchan. Obviously, there wasn't that much times placed in the first half of the session. At one stage, Casher was on the front row for the race in second, just in front of Suter and Bargwanna, Cameron and D'Alberto. But eventually that spoiler that didn't happen. So yeah, and Zach Suter, like he did in Q1, he just went ham in the last half of Q2. He went on to set the second fastest time, 0.07 off of Josh Buchan. But at the end of the day, the reigning, defending, undisputed TCR champion of Australia, Josh Buchan, ended up getting the first pole of 2024, and also 6 championship points to go with it too, because it goes 6 points for pole, 5 for second, 3 points for third. You know what I mean, pretty much. And pretty much yeah. So yeah, with Zach Suter in second, 0.07 of a second behind him, very close to pole there with Zach Suter there, but so yeah, so this was how the grid was lined up for the So Josh Buchan was on pole with Zach Suter alongside. In the second row was Ben Bargwanna in the GRM Peugeot alongside another GRM Peugeot in his debutant teammate in Ryan Casher. Row 3 was 2022 champion Tony D'Alberto in the Honda Civic, in the Wall Racing Honda Civic F5, alongside Aaron Cameron in the other GRM Peugeot. Row 4 was Clay Richards in the Carl Cox Motorsport Cupra, out of the Melbourne Performance Centre team. with Brad Harris in the I typed here the FK8 version of the Civic Type R, but it's actually the FL5 version of the Type R. To be honest, that Ian McDougall out of Challenge Motorsport at Audi, set up added up row 5 alongside Dylan O'Keefe in the Ashley Sevitt Motorsport Lincoln Co. Round out the top 10. Row 6 was late replacement John Martin in the Honda Civic Type R FK version. That's the one I got right. With Tom Oliphant, the new HMO customer racing recruit out of P12. Marcus Liddell in the 99 Motorsport Audi in P13 alongside Glenn Naran in the second Tough Lift Racing Audi, which is one of two 2021 latest spec Audi RS3s in TCR cars in the field. The other one being the one of the front end Zach Suter's car. And then running off last, shotgun in the field, 15th would be Jordan Cox in the fourth GRM Peugeot after his issues in qualifying with no drive and that. So yeah, so that was the field set for the first TCR race of 2024. But before then, you got a couple of. You had the final qualifying session of the weekend, which was the GT Australia Formula Open Series. Now, I went into this, to be honest, with an open mind, to be honest, because I've never seen this sort of category before. So, do you guys wonder what the heck, what in the absolute F is Formula Open? Well, it's just like endurance racing with sports cars. It's the same thing happening with open wheel racing. You have 3 classes, which is FO1, FO2 and FO4. Now, FO1 is basically the fastest open wheel cars in Australia you can find in Australia. By the way, nothing, which is basically the old Formula 3 cars. Formula 3 cars. FO2 is the old, well now it's called the Formula Oceania Championship, I think it's called, but it's the old Toyota Racing Series cars back in the day. And so explanatory, FO4 is basically the old Formula 4 cars. So yeah, and plus also in this field as well, there was not one but 2 15-year-olds in the field. God, that makes me so damn old. I'm 23 and there's 2 15-year-olds competing in with open wheelers. Yeah, that's a thing. But all this earlier part, all this first half of the session was all with Ryan McMillan, who which I'll get to I'll get to when I do a review of Sunday's action. When he just looks so young. I think he is one of the 15-year-olds, I believe. But he dominated the first part of the session. Just went fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap for the first, I'm gonna say, about 6 or 7 minutes of the session, and then 19-year-old Miles Bromley decided to just fire up his F3 and just go, I've had enough of this, and then just takes top spot. So yeah, and then halfway through, so through the session, this was the order halfway through. So apologies if I get any last names wrong here. By the way, Miles Bromley was on top with Trent Grubel, the reigning Formula Open champion, in second. Ryan McMillan third. Evans fourth. Astley fifth, and then Russell Saraski, I fancy say it. Cantoros, I fancy say that name too. Hamilton, McNeil, Seconti, Rosler, and Woodward, and I think I wrote here. I think I wrote down the wrong. Woodland was the last one. I said Woodwood here for some reason. I wrote Woodwood here for some reason. I don't know why, but it was Woodland is the name pretty much. So yeah, and then and it was just nothing much really besides Woodland crashing out at the exit of turn 4, just ran out wide out of turn 4 and just went straight into the wall. Straight into the wall. It became a lengthy red flag, and pretty much the session restarted with perhaps everyone having one last crack at Miles Bromley for pole, which unfortunately that didn't happen. And Miles Bromley took the first pole position of Australian Formula Open season for 2024, with reigning champ Trent Grobel behind him in second by 0.08 of a second, which is unfortunate in the end. So the order after that was, of course, McMillan in third, then Evans in fourth, Russell fifth, then Astley, Selesky, Kennels, McNeil, Neil Hamilton, Seconti, Rosler, and Woodland, rounding out that field. And then it was on to the first race for the day, which initially the first race because the first race of the day happened before 7 Plus came on for it. That was the Australian Production Car Championship. Which was the second race. They had their first race on earlier that morning, which was the first official race, which was won by Jano Jada with Cameron Crick in second, and then third and fourth were the Shannons brothers in the top four, pretty much with that. So yeah, then so the start of the race happened. It was a pretty close thing between the front four between Campbell, the Shannons brothers, and Simon Hodges. The others were pretty much in the other classes were pretty much non-existent, pretty much just having their own little battle, pretty much. There was no action really to report throughout that time, throughout the whole race. Except for Matt Holt, passing Kukowski, Ben Guskowski, after a mistake from him at turn 1, passed him for 6th place. But then it was action in the last half of the race when Simon Hodges passed Ian Sheeran in the number 72 car for third place at turn 1, which was all brought on by brought on by the Volkswagen of good old Captain Rob Jarvis from the V8 Ute days. He was driving the Volkswagen, and the field sort of tightened up a bit after that, and that's how Hodges got past Ian Sheeran for third place, and that was really it pretty much. With Dean Campbell taking the win with Grant Sheeran in second, and Simon Hodges taking the final podium spot in third. With Ian Sheeran in fourth. There was Lewis Holt, Guskowski, Bacchini. I fancy how you say it, Bacchini, Sutton, and Captain Rob Jarvis rounded out the field in that one. So not much action to report there. Now on to the big ones, which were the opening races for both Trans Am and TCR Australia. Start off with Trans Am. So it was a bit of a chaotic start, obviously, to the race. Obviously, being a standing start, and that there was people going everywhere down the main straight. People down the main straight, but yeah. So then, so at the end of lap one, the top five was as follows: was James Moffat from James Golding, Nash Morris, Jordan Boys, and Elliot Barber. On the second lap, Tim Slade, for some reason, he started well in ninth, but dropped down quite quickly to 13th. I wonder if he made a mistake at some point there. And then there was not much to report for the next two laps, and then became the first safety car where Tom Heyman just randomly just spun it all by himself. Spun it all by himself down the back straight. Hit the wall, which caused the first safety car period of the race. Straight up, and then it was later reported that there was some sort of fuel or oil issue with Heyman's car, which meant he had to pull out of the second Trans Am race. During that, after the restart, obviously Elliot Cleary passed Ben Grice. For sixth, and then after a moment at turn 4, Ben Grice dropped down to 11th, with at the same time Todd Hazelwood passing Elliot Cleary for 6th position during that time, and then the next lap down at turn 9, down at Dandy Road corner. Jackson Rice got tapped into a spin after contact originally with Eden Thornborough, and then Davies collected him on the way through, which teared off his rear bumper bar during that. Because of the safety car with Tom Heyman spinning out down the back straight early on in the race, that of course it caused the race to end under time certain, which left James Moffat to cruise, well, not slightly cruise, but come across the line to win the first race of the season. Of course, not a bad start to defense of your title for Moff. With Jimmy Golding just 0.2 of a second behind him in second, with Nash Morris rounding out the podium close behind in third. And then the rest of the field, also Jordan Boys finished in fourth, Elliot Barber in fifth. Todd Hazelwood in his maiden Trans Am appearance finished in sixth, pretty good going from him. Elliot Cleary in seventh, Ben Grice in eighth, Pappas in ninth, Webster rounded at the top 10 with Hollinger, Thornborough, Tim Slade, and Jackson Rice rounded out the finishes of the race, with Davies and Heyman the non-finishers in that race. Now moving on to the one we've all been waiting for, the first race of the Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series for 2024. And I was very, very excited for this because as I said, I've been wanting to get fully into TCR Australia for a full year for ages now, and finally I get to do it since it's on 7+ now. But yeah, and away they went. Not without drama, obviously, with Ian McDougall stalling on the start line. But and then halfway through the race, eventually he pulled in the garage with certain problems, I would presume. It had something to do with him stalling on the start line. That's probably how. Lap 1 ended with Ben Bargwanna leading the race from Josh Buchan, Zach Sutar, Aaron Cameron, and Tony D'Alberto close behind. And then soon Aaron Cameron On the second lap, Aaron Cameron at turn 9 at Dandy Road with a good overtake on Zach Suter for third position. And that was where and the whole field is where it stayed until probably about lap 7. Until about lap 7 when Brad Harris made a pass for 6th on Ryan Casher. And then on lap 10, obviously, all close to halfway through the race, so Glenn Naran, who was way down the field, he got off the road, and I saw the replay of it, and it was strange how he went through turn 4, went on the brake, and just didn't turn. He pretty much did a Mark Skaife thing for Sandown 500 2006, where he just basically went straight on, just couldn't turn left at all. I don't know if it had something to do with it. And then just to make matters worse, about a lap later, he spun out. Or a few laps later, he spun out at the exit of turn 6, which is not the place you want to spin. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way. So that's not the place you wanted to spin. And then this is where Jordan Cox decided to just go storm his way through this field and said, P10 starting reverse grid pole is not for me. First off on lap 11, passed Tom Oliphant for 9th place. Then a lap later made a pass on Clay Richards for 8th. Then a battle ensued. For the reverse grid pole position between Dylan O'Keefe and Tom Oliphant later in the latter half of the race, and it was all sitting good. You know, it probably was going to be the exact positions probably, except for a hard charge in Jordan Cox charging everybody. Then Aaron Cameron in his Valvoline GRM Peugeot slowed down the back straight, and I don't know what eventually was the problem there. I think it was some sort of problem with the car. I think, but eventually went on to finish second last and amongst all the finishes. But Jordan Cox wasn't done there with his hard charge. Went past Ryan Casher for 6th, and then a lap later, in the same time as Aaron Cameron was slowing due to his car problems. Then a lap later, past Brad Harris for 5th position. That was where he stayed in pretty much. And then with 2 laps to go, John Martin, who was the replacement was the replacement for Will Harris. He was locked in a fierce battle with Tom Oliphant for reverse grid pole. A battle for reverse grid pole, pretty much. So yeah. Eventually, John eventually passed Oliphant for 10th at around the outside. I think it was around the outside, I believe, at turn 6, which was a very good move. But at the end of the day, it was Ben Bargwanna, the son of Jason Bargwanna, went on to get his first win of the 2024 TCR Australia season. I think at the time it was his second career TCR Australia win. I believe he won one, which was ironically at Sandown in the wet in 2022. And it was in very dominant fashion too. 6 seconds. He beat reigning champion Josh Buchan by 6 seconds. That is an absolute dominant performance from Ben Bargwanna. And just to also mention as well, Tony Alberto completed the podium in 3rd, by the way. I loved his celebration in Part Ferme, where it's like, yes, a roof. And then he did the interview with, I think it was Chris Stubbs, I believe it was, or someone else. And he's like, how good was that? I was just yeah, I was like, the roof doesn't fall far from the tree on that one. In terms of his celebration, yeah, it was freaking hilarious, really. But and you could see the smile on his freaking face. You could tell with that. But yeah, so to go with the rest of the field, Zach Suter finished in fourth. Finished in fourth place. Jordan Cox went from 15th on the grid to 5th, up 10 positions from his starting spot. Very good going from him. And then it was Harris Kasher, Clay Richards, Dylan O'Keefe, and John Martin grabbing the reverse grid pole position ahead of Tom Oliphant. Then it was Marcus Liddell. Aaron Cameron limped home with his issues with his car and so on. And Glenn Naran was a long way back after his two skirmishes down at turn 4 and then eventually down at turn 6 a lap or so later. Ian McDougall was the only retirement with his issues, I presume, with something to do with him stalling on the grid. Then on to the second race of the day for the Australian Production Car Championship. Let's just say it was the. Let's call this race the Cameron Crick and Jay No Jada show, because they were just far and away ahead of everybody else in the field. The only meaningful pass was Jay No Jada passing Grant Sherrin on the second lap of the race down at turn 1 for second place. Other than that, that was just it pretty much. Afterwards, it was basically Jay No Jada studying Cameron Crick's rear end for like 23 minutes straight, which is what I thought was only reserved for Paul most sites, to be honest. And it was nothing much there, really. Tom Guskowski was eventually retired with 3 minutes left in the race, pretty much, and then pretty much Cam Crick. Well, to Jay No Jada's credit, he tried a couple of times during the race to get past Cricky, but unfortunately couldn't quite get the job done, and Cameron Crick got the job done in race number 3 the weekend, with Jay No Jada finishing second, 8/10 of a second behind him, with Grant Sherrin finishing on the podium in third, a long way back from the top 2. Let's put it that way. And the rest of the field, you got the other Sherrin brother in Ian. And then you got Callahan, Holt, Bacchini, Sutton, and then Jarvis were the ones that finished the race, with Guskowski eventually the only one that didn't finish the race. Then in race number, then it was the first race of the weekend for the GT Australia Formula Open Championship. And it started off with dramatic fashion with Ryan McMillan, who was great in that qualifying session earlier on, stalling on the start line, which left him dropped him back to last place, and then it ended with the top 5 basically with Bromley, Grubel, Evans, Russell, and Ansley. And then that's when McMillan stormed up through the field in the early part. So he made up 2 positions on the second lap, made up 3 positions on the third lap, and then passed Slashki on lap 4. So in those 3 laps, he made up 6 positions in those 3 laps, which is insane, really. And then on lap 5, Bo Russell Tried an audacious move past Evans, Kyle Evans, which did not work. Ended up in the kitty litter at Dandy Road Corner. The latest victim of Dandy Road Corner. So then that brought out the safety car. Then the race restarted. Obviously, Ryan Astley passed Kyle Evans to move up in the third, and then a lap later, as he was trying to catch Ryan Astley again, Evans ended up spinning out at turn 1. I believe he did. I don't think he I don't think he ended up. He did not get back going again, but he ended up finishing way down the field, as I'll say in a bit, because of the safety car. Just like the first Trans Am race, it forced the race to finish under time certain, with Miles Bromley 2 laps early. With Miles Bromley taking the first win of the Formula Open season, by just under 2 seconds in front of reigning champ Trent Gribble, and with Ryan Astley finishing in third place. Outside of that, he had Ryan McMillan, who stormed from pretty much storming on the start line and being pretty much dead last after the first corner. Stormed back to finish in fourth. Solaski then in fifth. Then it was McNeil, Kanzos, Seconti, Ruslat, Hamilton, and Evans was the last of the finishers, with Bo Russell DNFing after he's off down at Dandy Road Corner. Then it was the final race of the Trans Am the second race of the Trans Am for the Trans Am series, which rounded off the day's racing. I said earlier, it had to do so about Tom Heyman, who due to issues with his car in that off in the first race down the back straight, he had to pull out. He had to pull out of the second race of the weekend. So then the first race, and some might argue, was more chaotic than the start of the first race. It wasn't until turn 2 and 3 when Elian Barber decided he wanted to make his car fly, apparently, and his freaking bloody car was like that in the infield, which caused him to go into the wall between turns 2 and 3. I don't think it caused the safety car, to be honest. Look at the notes here. No, it did cause the safety car. Period. At the end of the first lap, it was Moffat from Morris, Golding, Boys, and Grice with the Flash passing Jimmy Golding, passing him down at Dandy Road Corner. Then basically in the space of a sector, James Golding lost 3 spots. Got passed by Jordan Boys. Then he got passed by both Ben Grice and Todd Hazelwood as well, down the main straight. And then he came to the pits because of a flat tire, and it was revealed that it was because of the move with Nash Morris. That caused him to have a flat, so that was the end of his race, pretty much. And then nothing else really to report there. Of course, Elliot Barber was going up his way through the field, and then lap 8 saw Jordan Boys past Nash Morris for second position at the first corner. A good move by Jordan Boys there. And then a few laps later, Nash Morris slowed at the exit. It was slowed and then came to a halt at the exit of turn 1. And then he got back going again. And then it was later revealed that he spent pretty much from this moment on, he was pretty much driving all the remaining part of that race in fourth gear. He just couldn't get out of fourth gear. Tim and then Tim Slade. And then the latter half of the race, Tim Slade decided I've now gotten used to these cars. I'm gonna try and make up some late positions. Past Eden Thornborough on lap 13 to move up into 6th. Then charged down the leading group of I think it was Hazelwood, Grice, and Elliot Cleary. He then passed Cleary down the main straight for 5th. And then coming on across the start-finish line for the final lap, Todd Hazelwood down the main straight past I almost said Alan Grice. Ben Grice down the main straight to move up into a podium position. At the same time, Tim Slade then passed Grice to move up into 4th position. So Ben Grice basically lost two places in about 200-300 meters, pretty much. But nothing stopped James Moffat, even despite Jordan Boyce coming at him late. It was too late. James Moffat made it 2 from 2, 2 for 2 with a win. This time by 0.3 of a second behind in front of Jordan Boyce. With Todd Hazelwood in his first event driving a TCR car, or his first day driving a first competitive racing day driving a Trans Am car, I should say. He ended up on the podium, which was very good going for him. And he also mentioned as well, got some experience in the commentary box, which I thought he was great in the commentary box. If I were to say rate between 1 and have Will Brown at 10, I would have him at about an 8, at about an 8.5 out of 10. Like, nothing would beat Will Brown in the commentary box. He proved that last year at Race Tasmania. He was just great in the comment box. When he Will Brown in the commentary box, that's probably his move after his race career ends, going into the commentary box. So it would be fantastic there. But the rest of the field, Tim Slade, a very good drive in 4th. Ben Grice in 5th. Then it was Elliot Cleary, Eden Thornborough. Then it was Rice Davies, Webster, Pappas, Hollinger, Nash Morris, and then the 3 guys had troubles during the race. Nash Morris with his gearbox issue, James Golding, of course, with his tyre problem from the start of the race, and then Elliot Barber's crash on lap 1 of the race, and that was pretty much it for that day. Pretty much. So it was a very good first day of action for the Speed Series for 2024, and let's just say it got a little bit better. It got the action definitely hotted up. And I'm not saying that because of the weather, but also out on track it got a bit hot as well, which I'll review that in the next video. So yeah, so that's pretty much the end of this review. In-depth review of the first day of the Saturday action of the first round of the Shannons SpeedSeries at Sandown. So like this video, please share this around to anybody who's a motorsport fan. Please, we need more fans of the Speed Series, please. Comment down below your thoughts. Have you already got 7 plus? And if you are a fan of the Speed Series, what were your thoughts on the day's action? And lastly, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. It'll really help me out a tremendous amount. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later.